Hey, Nicole Roberts Jones here, and welcome to another episode of the Meaningful Work Podcast, where I come and join you every week to give you insight, tips, tools to live a life and have a career full of meaning and fulfillment. Now, our conversation today is one that I think so many people overlook. I wonder if you realize how much your environment impacts how you feel, how you move, and how you have your being. Listen, how much time do you spend in your house? I know many of us work remotely now, so it became even more important in COVID. So, whether you work from home or you work away, your environment does have a significant impact on you being able to provide meaning in your life. And our guest today is the perfect person to talk about it. So, let me stop talking and introduce her. Her name is Nikki Klugh. Now, as the principal designer and founder of Nikki Klugh Design Group, Nikki is known for her extreme attention to detail, her deep connection with clients, and her infectious positivity. Nikki doesn't just design spaces, she crafts experiences that cater to all five senses, showing clients the true meaning of everyday luxurious living. Ooh, I can't wait to hear about that. Her design philosophy is simple yet profound. Your home is a sacred space and a place for relaxation, rejuvenation, restoration, and rest. Nikki's designs go beyond beauty and functionality. They transform lives and elevate daily living to extraordinary levels. So, help me welcome Miss Nikki Klugh. Hey, girl.
Thank you, Nicole. So good to be here.
So excited to have you. Now, listen, I've been watching Nikki for years and I've loved watching the expansion of all you do. So let me not get selfish. Let's start with what inspired you to start this whole journey of. So she's beyond an interior designer, y'all. Okay, I want you to get this. She creates sacred spaces. I read it in her bio, but I really want you to get this. So, what inspired you to go in this path of creating sacred spaces?
Well, Nicole, you were there. Like you saw this all evolve, right? I have been designing really all of my life, decorating my tiny little bedroom in Houston, Texas, and always knew that, how we surround ourselves, the spaces that we live in, that we move in, have an impact on us, whether it's somewhere where we feel safe and taken care of and or inviting others in, or whether we're just getting by. And so I knew I loved decorating, but I also knew that I didn't want it to just be for the looks and the glam and the showy and the keeping up with the Joneses, no pun intended. Um, but it was our mutual friend, sister, mentor, Lisa Nichols, who really was able to unpack that for me. She's a master of words. And while I had the feeling deep down in my soul, and I knew this, and I helped other people live it, she was able to put words to it
Mm.
and share with me her own personal experience of how my designs for her affected her life in so many different areas. And so we can continue and go further into that, but I'll stop there.
It's funny, even watching you, Nikki, you exude sacred space. I mean, everything about you from your voice. So you guys can't see her, but the way she walks, I mean, you command a room, but you walk in such a luxurious way, like I am here, even though you don't say that. It's just you have this royalty about you. So tell us a little bit about this concept of everyday luxurious living and how it influences your design philosophy.
Yeah, again, while we love beautiful things, as we should, because God created us that way, right? He tells us to take in the things that are wholesome and good and worthy and beautiful. Like He created beauty. That wasn't a concept of our own. Now, with anything, we can take it too far to the left or too far to the right, and we can get obsessed with just the look in the aesthetic, but really it's because of the feeling that's associated with it. To us in our brains, it means that all is well. Things are as they should be. They are in its proper place. They feed us. They support us. Life is good. Like it gives us that internalized feeling that what is showing on the outside. So just living that in my youth, in my mom's home, in my grandmother's home, who was just a diva. I think I attribute so much to my mom as my muse, but my grandmother is where it all started.
Mm,
And just experiencing that and living that and going from, we had a large family in Houston, Texas. And so going from home to home to home and internalizing that family, what it felt like at different people's homes and then associating it with whether there's clutter, whether there's organization, was care taken in this space, did they prepare for you? All of these things are cues and signals of how we value each other and more importantly, how we value ourselves.
so good. And as you were saying that, it made me think of the fact, okay, so don't judge me. There are times I walk in my office and I can tell I'm working on 20 things because there's so much clutter, which means
Yeah.
there's so much going on in my head,
Right.
right?
Right.
But and my husband laughs at me because he'll say, "Okay, how many projects do you have going?"
Right.
Because there'll be like piles of papers or things I'm working or books I'm reading to study that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're 4 or 5 piles. But here's the thing:
Yeah.
it makes me crazy, but at the same time, it also helps me remind myself to work on it. Right. And I do think about you when I see that clutter, like, oh my God, if I would just clean up this doggone office, I probably would get so much more done. Right.
Yeah. Well, I will say we are similar in that we have multiple projects going on at the same time. But what we've done is we contain it. So each
Mm,
project has its own basket or tray, depending on how much is going on. And if I took you on a tour around my office, you'd see too that there's, this carpet sample, paint sample, wallpaper, fabrics, but they're in a tray. So it feels more contained and it feels
mm.
more intentional and purposeful. And so, but yeah, if they're all colluding, then yeah, that's definitely going to contribute to your mental overload.
And let's talk a little bit about mental because I don't think people stop and realize how much our surroundings contribute to our well-being. So can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, in your office setting, so let me start with sacred spaces. It's an umbrella and covers multiple spaces in your home. Sacred means set aside for a certain purpose, right? And so, when we talk about your kitchen or your bedroom or your office, they're all going to have different functions. Sometimes they're dual purpose, but keep that in mind as you're being intentional about how you plan the space. But we call an office a money space. Like, this is where you go to put on your boss cap, to switch gears and get in the zone, whether it's sales calls or delivery or content creation. It needs to be able to support that activity and help you get locked in as quickly as possible. So the clutter, the overload, when you see so many things on your desk or spread around your office, you're sending subliminal messages that I cannot handle one more thing. So, how much harder is it to pick up that phone and make a sales call to get a new client when you're like, I can't handle the clients I have? So, we have to be really smart and aware of the messages that we're sending ourselves. There are 5 different elements to a money space. And so, we talked about the clutter, but I also want to zone in and zero in on your why wall. This is a space where many people would put, say, their vision board. I like to narrow it down to 3 to 5 things of your big whys. And if you're an entrepreneur, you've likely done this exercise where you dig in and you peel back the layers of the onion to why. Why is that important to you? It's not just the money, right? It's not just the accolades. There's something deeper in you. Maybe it's a promise that you've made to yourself, a vow that I will or I will never. And we can allow that to drive us and to pull us into our beautiful future and keep that front and center across from your desk so that you can see it every moment of the day.
And before you say the next one, listen, I do that. So I got that from you. I heard that somewhere with you. Look, it could have been 20 years ago 'cause that's how long I've known you. So I literally, so if I'm sitting at my desk, I'm not in my office. I'm gonna tell you all about that in a minute when she finishes because she taught me this too. So I'm in my studio.
Mhm.
But anyway, when I'm sitting in my desk in my office, my why, my vision board is really literally every time I get in and out of my desk, I have to turn this way. So I see it every single time I get up to go to the bathroom, I get up to go get a snack, I get up to leave my office. I'm looking at my vision. And I love it because it reminds me of why I'm doing what I do. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, I want to suggest if you've never done a vision board, I'll put a link in the show notes to some vision board exercise I'll create for you because I have it somewhere in my arsenal of things. But I
Yeah.
want to encourage you to do that. It's not about manifestation. Yes, it's about that too. But I'm a Jesus girl, so I'm gonna say it's about faithing it. It's
Yeah.
about putting the things you really really want and reminding yourself of where you're going, so you stay true to what you're working on, which is important in your environment.
Yes, yes, so, so important because on those days where it's like, dang it, like it's a rough one. And why do I kill myself doing this? Why am I beating myself up about this? It will pull you back into the why. And on days when you can celebrate, it's like, yes, one more step closer to that goal. And I want to say, update those. I've had to do that recently because I've accomplished those things. It's like, whoa, the Taj Mahal. I love to travel. Of course, I love architecture. And the Taj Mahal is one of the wonders of the world and such a beautiful example of love and architecture combined. And so once I hit that goal, my picture of the Taj Mahal was on my Y wall for about 2.5 years. And then an opportunity came and I grabbed that opportunity. We had an amazing time, such great memories, but then it stayed on my wall. And in a transition, because we've moved a few times, I realized, oh, I need to change this picture out. Like I can say, yes, I've done that and check that off, but now I need something new that's going to keep me revved up and keep me excited about the work that I'm doing.
So good, so good. And before, so listen, I want you to give us all five, but let me just tell the story since I added myself a minute ago. So we
Yeah.
moved in 2021. So though I moved from Boston to DC, that doesn't matter. But here's the thing: in Boston, my office and my studio was one room. So
Yeah.
the number of times, y'all, because so my desk was in on one section, and then I have lights up, you can't see. I have all these things that you guys can't see. But the number of times I tripped over my lighting and I would fall. It
Oh,
was so bad, but it also would
yeah.
really what I wasn't realizing it was doing was it was frustrating me, which
Mhm.
then was conducive to my environment,
Yeah.
right? So any and listen, I love anything studio. My undergraduate degree is TV and film. So any production I love, but the fact that I was tripping over chords, I couldn't figure it out. I had all these things.
Mhm.
And so when we moved, I told my husband the one thing I have to have is a separate, the nerve studio. Now I'm in the guest room, by the way.
Mhm.
So the bed is over here.
Um,
Okay. The whole rest of the room is my studio. And then we have guests. My studio comes down. But I wanted it to be a separate room so that I didn't have that clutter all around me while I'm trying to produce content.
Yes. Yes. So good. So good. Absolutely. If you have the space to do that, ideal. But sometimes we have to make things work, right? Sometimes we're working at a dining table. That was something that during the beginning of COVID, people had to readjust their lives and figure out where can I make a dedicated space so that my children, my pet, my significant other, whatever, whoever's in my space can respect and know that this is my working zone. This is my money space. And so one of the things I like to point out is the power position. Whether you are working at a dining table or you do have a dedicated space, you want to be positioned so that when you look up, you see your Y wall, but you also see the entrance to the room. It's in kind to a speaker taking command of the space. Anytime you go to a conference or if you go into an executive's office, their line of sight is right at the door so that they can command the space and know what's going on in the room. It's like my dad, who was an OG, like OG. uh, yeah, he ran the neighborhood, and he would never ever sit with his back to the door in a restaurant. So I think it's a Southern gentleman thing, but maybe it goes back even further to say caveman days, where you would never have your back to the entrance of the cave for fear of danger or harm. So that same principle still lives within us to take command and control of the space.
So good, so good. Okay, so I interrupted and listen, y'all. If you see me looking down and I'm writing, I'm taking notes too because I learn from guests too, y'all, and I always learn something from Nikki. So, and you've heard a couple of stuff learned already. So the five things to make a money space, right? So
Yeah.
one is get rid of clutter.
Yes,
Second is the why wall. Tell
yes.
us the other three if you don't mind.
So third is the
The
space
power
dragon,
position.
the power
Right.
position. Fourth is designing to your senses. Now we take this in
Mm,
all rooms of the home, but in your money space, you want to think about what's going to keep you upbeat, and that is often a citrus smell. There are some other scents too, but I often recommend some kind of lemon or orange zest, and it can be done in the form of diffuser. So smell, but also we have four other senses, right? Hearing. Do you love music? Do you love the sound of water? What calms you? What keeps you upbeat? You know, I have a playlist depending on what activity we're doing, whether it's making sales calls or kicking out content or, getting designs completed. We have a different soundtrack for that. So sometimes it's Eminem 8 Mile, like it just depends on what the mood is. So, uh, or French Cafe or Pandora, so music or hearing, like how can you play that up in your space? How can
so
you
good.
manipulate that so that it keeps you in the energy that you need to be in? Okay. So then there's color. Color. I love, love, love color. It's an art and it's a science because it really does have a physiological effect on you. It can raise your blood pressure or lower your blood pressure. Color is an energy, it's a wavelength. And so the tighter and quicker the wavelength is, the more energetic it is. And that makes you think of reds and orange and yellow. Whereas the longer the wavelength is, the cooler and calmer it is, and that's blues and greens. And so, again, depending on the energy that you need in your space or the type of work that you're doing, your profession, we can change up that color to feed that and nurture that.
So good. And you know what? Um, I had thought of something I was going to share. Now I'm having I feel like my mother right now. So it'll circle back. It'll circle back, y'all. I was going
It'll come back.
something you said that made me think of something that I did when I. Oh, this is what it is. Here it is. So I stalled long enough for it to come back.
Good.
So one of the things also learned from you is one of the things I love you all, and I'm sharing this with you because maybe you have a stressful job. Maybe you have three kids that stress you out. Maybe you're just in a stressful time in your life. The thing that I've learned is when you find that space in your room to there in your house, I should say, to de-stress. So it's
Mhm.
not just finding the space, but also, like you said, sound and sight. So I have this eucalyptus candle that I absolutely love because lavender sometimes just gets on my nerves and doesn't relax me. I found that this eucalyptus candle. But the second thing I found is I love water. So,
Yes.
of course, I try to take a vacation near a pool or a beach,
Mhm.
but when I just need a moment to de-stress, like you said, I have the ocean sound on my Spotify playlist, and I just lay. I have a lounge chair
Mhm.
in one of my guest rooms, another of my guest rooms, that I literally sit there, play that sound, and just unwind and
Yes.
light my candle and let myself just de-stress.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it. So perfect. And even if you're an insomniac, playing the nature sounds is helpful for me because that happens sometimes for me.
Mhm.
Lots of different ways to incorporate sound into your life.
So good, so good. So, listen, what advice would you give us? Now, you've said so many things, but if you wanted to shift your environment, just a quick tip, what would
Mhm.
be one of the first things you would suggest that we can do to create peace or nurturing in our environment?
You mentioned it, and that would be sense. But again, I would say take the assessment, and I should share that with you. We have a Designing to Your Senses assessment where you take a quiz and it lets you know how you experience the world. And so, whether it is through sight, sound, taste, which in design we equivalent to your style, or smell. And it could be that your top two, the way you most experience and your initial reactions to spaces and people would be maybe sight, because about 80% of us are dominant in sight, but also it could be smell. So
Mm,
once you know that about yourself, then that's what you play up. So
mm,
like you with the eucalyptus candle, I imagine that you're a smell person. Like smells either going to make you happy or they're going to make you frustrated. I learned that about myself with my sons on kitchen rotation. If they didn't do the kitchen, it wasn't so much that they weren't living up to their agreement, which is important, but the fact that the kitchen was stinky. Like I just cannot stand bad smells. It just irritates me. It grates my nerves. It makes me mad and frustrated. Ah.
No, and can I
So
tell you? Can I tell you? So my husband talks about me with this one. So we have a cleaning crew that comes in and cleans up our house, and
oh,
sometimes they use a towel that smells like mildew to me.
right,
Nobody else can smell it. When I
right,
ask them, "Can you guys not smell that?" They don't smell it. My husband doesn't smell it, but I can smell it. So I'm like, "Can you use another towel?" And he
right,
laughs because I called the cleaning company like, "Can you make sure they come here with clean towels?" I said it nicer than this, though, y'all, because I'm like, that smell drives me absolutely. I can't take it.
right, right. And again, that's how you experience the world. And other people around you are like, what are you talking about, Nicole? Like, so knowing that about yourself and again through this assessment can help you determine what's going to lift me immediately. So whether it's adding a scent or playing great music, and I want to talk about the dance break too. It has nothing to do with design.
Tell us about the dance break.
I mean, every once in a while, when things are just haywire, we need a hard reset. We will take a dance break. We will crank it up, like I said, mentioned 8 Mile, but it could be Girl on Fire. Whatever that power music is, it's just a psychological trick that works for me. The dance break. So music, incorporating music, but also texture. So some people are tactile, and you can know this by knowing if you're a type of person where you learn by writing. You have to do it first,
Mm.
or be engaging your hands in order to learn some new information. And so stress balls are good for that. But also, like, now that we're working from home, we can control our environments more than we would in a corporate environment. The rug under my foot is really plush. And so I will take my shoes off and I will just self soothe by rubbing my
Mm.
feet on the area rug.
What a great idea. I would have never thought about that. Listen, now you're gonna have me. My husband's gonna blame you for me putting a new rug in my office. But I
Like, what
never
are you
thought of
doing, ma'am?
listen, I have a rug in my dining room, you guys. And when I sit
Oh,
in my dining room, I sit there with no shoes on.
yeah,
And I'm just realizing it right now why I do that because I love how it feels on my feet. I never thought about that
yeah,
until this moment.
yeah, yeah. So design for me goes way beyond just the visual. It's the whole experience.
I love it. I love it. So listen, I want you to tell us a little bit about On the Go, excuse me, On the Move with Nikki Klugh. Now listen, the first episode, you had me at hello. Tell us about On the Move with Nikki Klugh.
So I mentioned that I love to travel, or did I? I don't know. I love to travel. I love to travel. I love to see new sights and sounds and people and architecture. So that's one thing. I am always on the move because anytime I can, I fit in a travel trip. Going to Thailand next week. We're a military family. I mentioned that. And we have literally lived from coast to coast. We have lived in DC area in Bethesda. We were out in Germantown. I'm from Houston, Texas. We lived in New Mexico, Northern California, Southern California. We have literally lived across the US. And so having that experience has taught me how to take something that's existing and incorporate it into the new space. And so that's really beneficial for our clients because it's not about just starting from scratch and getting everything new. It's tweaking and creating new spaces and sometimes using things that have meaning to you. So what we found is that so many of our clients are also in these transition points where they're moving from city to city or maybe to a new home, or they're going through some kind of life change, a divorce or death or kids graduating. Like there's all types of reasons people find us, but most often it's because of a large transition. And so we combined all these things together and found that there is this central point of moving. So on the move with Nikki Klugh, we took 6 different clients and highlighted their journey. One was building their dream home. One, our pilot episode was Isaiah and Amaya. They were moving to a new city, Dallas, Frisco, Texas, and starting a new life together and bought this beautiful 6,000 square foot home. This young African American man just tearing up in business and his precious 16-year-old daughter. And we were able to design their whole home for them. And we took you on that journey.
So good, so good. So listen, two things. One, we'll link in the show notes. Number one, her assessment, because I forgot to say this a few minutes ago. So if you want to take the assessment so you really understand what is your aesthetics in regards to your environment,
Yeah.
take it. It's in the show notes. Second, I'm going to link her first episode. Now, listen, y'all, just because you watch the first don't mean you don't watch the second, the next. And I'm going to tell you, the first episode was so good, Nikki. And I'm so excited that other people get to experience your brilliance because you are someone that combines interior design with who you be in a way I've never heard before. I don't know if I'm just, biased because you're my girl, but I've just never heard anybody talk about it in a sacred space kind of way. So as we wrap this episode, can you share any advice, anything you haven't that I haven't asked you that you want to share with the listeners around sacred spaces or luxurious living?
Yeah. Um, Definitely making yourself a priority. I think we're in that mode. We talk about the soft life a lot now. And we talk about, being in purpose and not so much grinding it out, but staying focused and really consistent in
Yeah.
your growth and your acceleration and your elevation. I would say that your space has so much to do with all of that,
Mhm.
right? It's not, again, it's not about the pretty or the showmanship of it all. It really is about how you're taking care of yourself, your mind, your body, and your spirit, and creating that foundation from which you serve everyone else. So I would really encourage you to take a look around, make the tweaks, make the changes, have it speak to who you are, but also where you're going, and really enjoy this elevation in a sacred space.
So good. Well, thank you, Nikki, for leading the way, to giving us permission to want luxury, to go get luxury, and then to make it sacred on top of it. Thank you for all you're doing. And I can't wait to see more episodes of On the Move with Nikki Klugh. Can't wait. Can't wait. Thank you, girl. So with that, thank you for joining us for this episode. So you guys know I'm going to ask you to do two things. Number one, share the value that you got out of this episode. What's the one thing you are committed to doing that's going to shift your environment so that it's sacred or it's luxurious or it's both? Why do you have to choose? Make it both. The second thing is share it. There are other people in your network that need this insight. So please do share it so that other people get to see the brilliance of Nikki and understand the difference the environment can make just from these quick tweaks that she gave us in this episode. Again, thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next time for our next episode.